Okay, cool.
All right. Go
And
live on Facebook, right?
yeah, and then you should now be able to see the Builderall official group.
Okay, let me do that. Going there right now. Share to the group. The group is Builderall Official. Yep, got it. Ready to go live?
Yep.
Or should I wait?
No, let's go. Richard Goldsboro, you're live on Facebook.
We are live on Facebook inside the community, my man.
I'm a little
Seems
nervous.
like you have a sidekick.
I brought my friend Daisy for our first chat together in the Builderall group. Builderall community, this is Daisy.
Oh my gosh.
She never misses out.
Hi, Daisy.
She never misses out lunch.
Yeah, no, I know. Because she likes to interrupt them by barking is the problem over here.
Dog owners will know
Unbelievable.
If you start off with your dog in your lap, you don't have to interrupt the broadcast to go and find them.
Yeah, exactly right. I think there's seldom a Zoom call that we have where everybody leaves themselves unmiked that you don't after a while start hearing barking from somebody, right?
Exactly. That's how it
amazing.
Works. I'm glad she didn't interrupt you yesterday. That meeting yesterday with the community and the leaders went really well. Such a big response originally, so we thought we'd have to jump on today, and so glad we did.
Yeah, I know. It's great to have conversations with Shelley, and James jumping in was fantastic. And obviously Eric sharing his thoughts and support was phenomenal. And I really do believe that what we talked about yesterday is so important, right? It's the whole idea of understanding the strategy of connecting with people using brain biology to get decisions made in your favor. I mean, this is game-changing stuff that it flat out, it's more than just a technique, right? Because this alters the way you do business forever. When you get that you have the ability to touch people where they live and get decisions made in your favor, it's like having ninja powers of influence over others, right? It's almost like I know a lot of people say this to me, it's kind of an unfair advantage actually, right? When you know how limbic messaging works, you know how the brain functions, and you know how to tap into the decision maker, you have a complete market edge and an unfair advantage over everybody else that's out there. Right, so it's exciting to be able to bring this to the Builderall community.
It is, and can I just mention though that one of the kind of hard ass questions we got was like how just you're claiming this is like an entirely different way to market and to attract your ideal client, like, you know, like kind of a show me kind of an email. It was actually a little bit of an attitude behind it, which is awesome, right? So I think we should address that. Maybe you can explain like how do internet marketers typically like pitch, and why is this so different?
Yeah, so most people, what they do is they try to imagine, who's my client? Who's my avatar? And let me figure out what they need to hear. And let me create this marketing and this messaging based on what I think they need to hear. Which means that by definition, you are attracting all kinds of people, including those that you do not want. And I love to do this when we have a chance to do conferences or calls, just say, hey, just for a moment, take that 1 second and picture your worst client ever in your mind. Put that, everybody has that worst client, that worst customer, the one that starts your heart racing, the one that gets you upset the minute you see their text come in or their email come in. Everybody has that one. And we don't want them ever. We don't want them ever again. So by definition, if you think you're figuring out what they want to hear, you're going to attract all kinds of people. What if instead you expressed to the market who you are and what you believe? And when you say we believe in something, like we believe in long-term relationships, we believe in lasting relationships, The person on the other end, if they believe in lasting relationships, it's like you're issuing an invitation. You're saying, oh, do you believe in lasting relationships, Hubert? Oh, and then you, Hubert, feel that and say, he gets me. He believes in lasting relationships. We're the same. That's not really true. We're not the same. We just share a common belief, which means we now have a bond. And it happens way deeper here than in the thinking brain. When you establish that, you naturally attract people.
Well, what is it that you often say about like, I like you? What is that statement that you always say?
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. This is really psychologically the way it works. When I say I like you, what I really am saying is I am a lot like you. In other words, we have a common ground. We have commonality. That's why we believe statements and limbic messages are literally invitations to someone to step in your direction if they are the right person. And if they're not, to go somewhere else. I don't know about anybody else in the community, but for me, if someone's going to be a pain or a drag or is going to bring me down or is going to take me to places that I don't want to go, I don't want them to be a client. I really don't. I want fabulous, amazing, incredible people like those that are in this community who believe what we believe. And when you express that, that's who you attract. And you naturally filter out everybody else. It changes everything. A great business can only happen if you have great clients. Bad clients make a bad business, period. End of story. You know, right? It's like, forget it. We've had some bad clients, man. And it's funny because being nice guys, I periodically will see one of them, right? And I always go up and say, hey, man, how you doing? Shake their hand, whatever it may be. And almost every time I get invited to breakfast or lunch, hey, let's do lunch together. No, man, sorry, I'm already booked. Because there's no way I want to spend more than hi, hello with a bad client, right? I get better people to hang out with. Just saying. I mean, I know that I just went on a rant, but bad clients just make your life miserable.
Yeah, no, that's
talked about them for years.
Filtering out the bad ones and attracting the good ones really is at the heart of this. I also want to look at a note I got here. Somebody wrote asking the definition of limbic messaging, and is it fair to say that that's the same as emotional marketing?
So yes, although a lot of times people think that emotional messaging is, oh, let me just be emotional, let me put something emotional out there. Limbic messaging is messaging that touches the limbic brain or the decision-making part of the brain. By definition, it is emotional because we're touching the emotional side of the brain. But what it also needs to be highly effective is genuine and authentic. This is not about shock value. This is about who are you? What do you stand for? What do you believe? And how can you express that so cleanly, completely, and rawly, if you will, that's a new word, rawly. How can you rawly express this in a raw fashion that it naturally connects with others and brings them into you? That's why this is so different, Hubert. It's much more than emotional messaging. It's by definition emotional because you're touching the emotional side of the brain, the limbic brain, but it's emotional plus authentic plus genuine plus a reflection of who you truly are. That's what's key, because people don't buy what you sell, they buy who you are. They don't care about what you offer or what you make or what you whatever. They want to know why you exist and why should they care. And you've got to be able to express that in a way to attract great clients.
I think we
Sorry, I'm on a rant again.
I think we need to show one of our favorite examples, how this guy, Steve Jobs, embraced this concept to know it. Talk about speaking. What's that saying about when you market to everyone, you market to nobody, right? And
yeah, exactly.
And talk about laser focus on the attitude or the feeling that Apple is trying to attract. I think we should show that example.
Okay, so before I do that, just want to point out to everybody, think about a computer commercial, a commercial about computers. What do they talk about? Speed, megabytes, pixels, RAM, storage, all that stuff. So let's take a look at a little bit of a different approach to a computer commercial. Here we go.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
As you can see, Hubert, there was an awful lot of discussion about megabytes and pixels and speed and RAM. Right?
Exactly. Now, I love that commercial. People love it. And we have spent now quite a few years kind of decomposing the system behind why that is so effective. And I don't want to give anything away before it's time. Right, we're in a launch phase with the help of both Eric and James, and they're coaching us to make sure don't reveal anything before its natural time in the launch cycle, right? And by the way, everybody that is on here, follow our launch. Just go to, what is it originally? customerconversionblueprint.com.
Customerconversionblueprint.com. In fact, since you have Daisy in your hands, I'll pop it into the chat.
Right. That's customerconversionblueprint.com, and you can join our launch there. But what we'll do over the next couple of days here to answer the questions that are coming in from the people signing up during the launch, we'll be covering different aspects of the system behind what's going on here. But can I ask you originally, just to give a very brief look at this limbic messaging tie-in to all of our personalities. Just give us a little brief about what we have in terms of what is a mind type.
So your mind type is, and we're going to talk tomorrow, right, about mind types. We're going to talk tomorrow about mind types. Tomorrow we'll talk about where does a mind type come from, why does it never change, why it's so important to understand who you are, because when you know who you are, that's the only time that you can genuinely express yourself. If you don't know what you believe, you yourself don't know why you do what you do, what is the driver, then you're never going to get to true, authentic, genuine expression, which is what limbic messaging is all about. We have to become experts at expressing to the world who we are, and it begins with knowing your mind type. Why do you do what you do? What is your why? And we're going to talk about that tomorrow, right, I believe.
Yes, we are. Now, just to kind of close the loop on that commercial that we saw, right? We'll talk about these 7 mind types tomorrow, but there are 7 mind types, and I want you to list them.
Right.
But as you're listening to originally list the 7 mind types, think about which mind type is being spoken to by that Apple commercial that we just saw. Okay, we'll play a little game. We'll reveal it at the end of this broadcast. But originally, tell us the 7 mind types, and a little one sentence brief, and a 1-sentence brief about each one.
All right, perfect. Number 1, the giver, the person that wants to make a difference, add value, have an impact, and contribute with everything they do. Number 2, the connector, the person that is all about bonds and relationships. Trust is everything to the connector. Number 3, the problem solver, the person that loves to make sense out of things, takes in lots of data, clarifies and simplifies things for others. Number 4, the innovator, the person that's always asking the question, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? Constantly looking for a better way to do anything and everything and to share that with others. Number 5, the perfectionist, The person believes that there's a right way to do things and that things should be done right. All about systems and processes. Number 6, the rebel. The rebel is the person that thinks outside the box, constantly challenging the status quo, the norm, and everything around them. And lastly, number 7, the master. The master is a huge intellectual brain power, always looking to take things to the next level and go deeper on everything they touch. So again, the giver, the connector, the problem solver, the innovator, the perfectionist, the rebel, and the master. Those are the 7, and we're going to talk about those tomorrow.
That's awesome. And that commercial that we saw, which mind type do you think it was pitched towards? And by the way, which mind type was Steve Jobs? And by the way, it ended on their tagline, which, if you'll recall from the commercial, it said, think different. So which mind type was it?
Clearly, this is all about the rebel. And Steve Jobs is the rebel. And if you think about his career, he went from challenging one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing, to the point of walking into his team of engineers and saying, give me one of these, no buttons. Because some of us may remember that all of these used to have buttons until Apple came out with no buttons. And now none of them have buttons anymore because Steve Jobs and his team challenged the status quo. That commercial is all about think different, be outside the box, 100% about the rebel.
Awesome. That's awesome. Tomorrow we'll dive more into that mind type and the other mind types as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm looking forward to it. And obviously, members of the community, please bring your questions, bring your thoughts, bring whatever to these brief sessions that we're doing, usually around 10, 15 minutes, not long, enough to just keep giving you more and more information about the power of the customer conversion blueprint. It is a game-changing approach that will forever alter and turbocharge your business to a whole new level based on biology. And biology always works. If you're starving, you want to eat. If you're freezing, you want to get warm. If you understand the biology of the brain, you can influence others to make decisions in your favor all the time. So super powerful. You want to add anything, Daisy?
Daisy says, make sure to go to customerconversionblueprint.com and sign up for the launch. You'll learn a lot about the mind types and our customer conversion methodology, but also it's a great way to get a sneak peek at the Eric Salgado launch method. It's awesome. I mean, we're following it to a T. We're happy to do so, and it's just exhilarating.
Yeah, I think we should switch up the time tomorrow. What do you think about the early evening Eastern time? What do you think?
That's fine. Is it 5 o'clock? Because that means I'll have to have a beverage.
Oh man, how about 6 o'clock, just to make sure you have a beverage?
There you go. Okay, fine.
All right, 6 o'clock Eastern time. We're gonna put that. We'll make sure we let everybody know about that. But tomorrow we're gonna talk about mind types, where they come from, why they never change, why it's so important for you to know your mind type and how to express that in limbic messaging to turbocharge and catapult your business to the next level. So thanks everybody for checking in with us. Please bring your comments, your questions, all that kind of stuff. And we will see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock Eastern time to talk about your mind type. All right. That's it for us, right, Huey?
Bye. Yes, bye from me and bye from Daisy.
All right. Bye for now, everybody.
Okay, so that clocked in at 18 minutes.
Okay.
You managed to stifle your talking for 18 minutes.
Woo.
Okay, so that's good.
Barely.
Oh, that's so funny. That person asking Kathy all the questions, she left a heart face comment on all